Okay, guys. Um, so today I want to make a quick video, and I want to talk about another long forgotten about. I want to talk about another forgotten about prepping item. And if you ever watch a Canadian Prepper or a survival Lily, you probably see some of this stuff I'm going to show you on there. This is that they don't. How should I put it? They well, Survival Lily does a lot of bushcraft, and Canadian Prepper, he sometimes he gets where he has a bit too much stuff to really uh, try to take with him all the time. So if he'd want to go bug out, let's say. Uh, so I want to show you a long forgotten about prepping item. It's cheap. It's affordable. It's way more affordable than most anything you probably uh, own. Uh, and this is sort of a gun too at the same time, and something's not a gun too. So I want to show you. It's an old thing we used to know as a prepper uh, back some time ago, but now people just sort of don't know nothing about them. They sort of have switched over to believing just carry a 22 basically. So let me get in. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And that's this guy. This is something I didn't show you in my every gun video. I mean, I wasn't gonna bring. I thought about it, but I thought, I'm not gonna bring an air gun, BB gun out to just show everybody. I mean, really, I just thought, hey, that'd be just a bit on the ridiculous side. I got this is a Daisy. This is a Daisy 880. Okay, and it's got a True Glow sight on it. This is a cheap True Glow sight, one of the smaller versions of it, and it'll be powerful enough for this gun anyway, for what I'd want it for. And you can actually get squirrels with one of these things. You can actually take squirrels. You can take doves. You can take smaller game. I want to say a pheasant, but a pheasant is a little bit larger bird. So if you wanted to survive and you had to survive out there, or let's say you wanted to have something for hunt purposes, and you've got some place where you kind of got an idea for a bug out location, and that bug out location may have some hunting stuff available to you. Well, the this thing's a little bit dusty and stuff, but these guns really are not completely, out of the realm of things, as far as just being able to hit the target, finding the target. I mean, putting the point of impact on the, what you got to shoot. People there, if you kind of wonder if these ever have actually been a viable hunt option, well, I mean, just look at how many kids and stuff like that, even adults, have killed birds when they were kids, and how many people have shot and killed birds and squirrels and everything else with these guns. Um, One thing about these guns, this is a Daisy 880, and when I bought this one, it was like $50, I think about $50 back in a long time ago. I want to say I bought it back around 2015. And these do have the steel sights. They do have the steel sights to go along with the scope. But if you put a scope on top of one of these, it needs to pretty much be what you call a dovetail mounted. But this little guy right here sort of will work with a dovetail or a sort of a Picatinny rail. I basically have the dovetail. These things are pretty much made. These kind of scopes like this are pretty much made for these things. And I think I give like $30 for the scope. just being honest with you. If you can't find one of these for $30, then get on Amazon. You'll probably find something similar to it. It doesn't have to be a True Glow brand. True Glow is just a pretty popular brand that's sold in many stores. But you can pretty much get an Amazon scope or something like that, or you can just go ahead and opt to buy something way better than True Glow. But True Glow is kind of that middle of the road. It's just a middle of the road thing. It's not trash. It's not dirt cheap trash, but at the same time though, it's not exactly some kind of high dollar scope either. So if but if you want to, you can actually find better scopes. You can probably get on like Amazon, find like a CV Life scope that have like a little red dot in there. If that's something you'd want. However, this is just a plain old scope, and so gun costs like $40. Like I said, this gun was like $40 at your back then. Well, $50, and now this thing costs like $60 at Walmart. And this is a Daisy 880. Now with these Daisy 880s, how you actually do these, what you need to do, you just need to have a little bit of oil for your thing, and I got plenty enough oil on here now. But you just want to take and you will pull this arm up, and right in here, this is like a little piston ring. This is like a little piston ring right here. Okay, and you need to make sure you put a couple drops of oil right there. Now I'm gonna close this thing back down, and I'm gonna basically cock it back and just pull the trigger one time. It's clear, it's safe, and is it perfect? No. They got brake barrels if you want a brake barrel. I kind of prefer one more like this, or some kind of, like, say, Benjamin, something like that, because you got that versatility of ammo where you can shoot BBs or pellets. And this is a 1.77. It's not a 22, it's a 1.77. So let me show you basically what I'm talking about here as far as, let's say, the gun. And I've done a little bit of research online because it's been so many years since I bought these. But let's say I think you can buy these for around $10, and that's 750 pellets. 750 pellets for $10. You cannot buy any bullet out there made for that much for that. So let's say it'd either be $16 or $20. You'd be able to buy both of these. That's 1,500 rounds. That's 1,500 rounds of ammo for only $16 and $20. 1,500 rounds. You'll never get anything. I don't care if it's 22 or whatever. You'll never get them that cheap. That's dirt cheap. So and on top of that, I'll show you something else. Like this right here, I think costs like $8 or something like that for this thing of BBs. And this thing of BBs is 2,400 count. That's 2,400 count for like $8. That's a lot of ammo, So, you can kill a squirrel with this. You can take out game with this, and you can find food with this. So it is a possibility that you would have something like that for taking small game. And whisper quiet too. Another thing is, if you want to hunt stealth, it's whisper quiet. So I got this. I got these two things right here. So right there, we're already talking about close to about it's like 3,900 rounds of ammo. And then over here, I got more of these Crossman pellets. These are the I got some Piranha sharp points. Yeah, I got some sharp points and I got some Piranhas. I got a thing of Piranhas there, and I got some sharp points. But anyway, this is only 250 count. These are 500 counts right here. And I know I've taken about probably, not the 400 count on that one. That's a 500 count. That's a 500 count. So this is a 400 count. So let's say, I'm going to say that's probably 500. I'm going to say 550, 600. I'm going to say, no, I'm going to say maybe 650 for these two. Then another one for these, that's 1,000. So we're talking about 1,600 plus these. That's 3,000 pellets right there. and you wouldn't even have buying all this stuff. I can get this up here too. So buying all this stuff, that's roughly 5,500, 6,000 rounds of ammo. You wouldn't even have 30, $40 in it. I'm just being serious. You wouldn't have $30 or $40 in it, and so that's kind of an advantage, especially if you want to do a lot of things. You can do stuff like shoot a frog. You see a frog somewhere over there, you can shoot a frog. Uh, sometimes snakes can be kind of try to hide and get away from you. So let's say if you want to get, eat a poisonous snake or something, you might be able to kind of pop its head off with one of those. Kill squirrels, rabbits. You could even take a rabbit with one. Birds, doves, pheasants, just all kinds of things you can kill with one of those. You can kill a lot of things with one of those. You can kill, just many things. Anyway, so let's move on past that. What you can kill anyway. So I'm gonna show you something that you want to stay away from. And I've had these for a long time too. I bought all this a real long time ago when I was just having fun. Mostly just having fun, but I actually used to carry these two here as a protection for my dogs and I got a holster right here. I got a holster right here, and it's old. It's been kicked through the mud and dirt and whatever else, and this is like a Ruger 1911 style. It's a Ruger 1911 style air rifle. Air gun. It's made by Umarex. So if I can pull this thing out, oh yeah. Never mind. Anyway, it is an air gun. Okay, would you see that little safety right there? It's obviously a pure air gun. Look at the inside of that. You can clearly see this is an air gun. I'm not going to get into details of taking it apart, because then I have BBs coming out of it. But it's an air gun, and I used to carry these because my little dogs. When we used to go walking where I used to live at, my neighbor had labs, and most all the female labs were real sweet, but he had this big dominant alpha male lab. He was a great big guy, and he would come up there and he'd bark and growl at me and the dogs, and he'd kind of growl at the dogs. He wouldn't growl at me. He was nice to me, but he just looked at the dogs and didn't like the dogs. So one day I was out there and I thought he was going to actually attack them, and I screamed at him, "Stop!" and he stopped, and he got all mad and he peed real quick and then he run off, and he was trying to show his dominancy. So, and my dog started barking at him, which kind of got him stirred up too. So what I did was I said, okay, I need to do something about this, and I said, in case we have an encounter with this dog again, which we did have a couple more close things, but he never got close enough to me. But I always had this gun right here with me. Well, one of these guns, this was made by actually a company called Crossman, and this is what they call the Crossman Phantom, which I've never been crazy about this gun because it burns up CO2 too much. And generally speaking, you can easily see that that's an air gun. It's still got the same safety thing right there. This one's made by Umarex. This one here is made by Umarex. This is made by Crossman. I like the 1911 style handgun a little bit better, but this kind of reminds you of a SIG XDM. But anyway, I kind of prefer. Didn't want that to happen. I don't know where that BB just went to. I had to find it, but you can see these little stripper clip, these little stripper clips. Basically, is what they are. It's just clips. But I never really preferred this one because it burns up CO2 too bad anyway. But in the event, let's say, just saying, in the event, if you actually had to protect your life with one of these, that's how these things come apart. But if you had to protect your life with one of these, would it be possible? I want to say I don't like the ideal of it. I will say this though: they are semi-automatic. They will shoot every single round continuously. And if you had nothing else and you was able to pull this out and put it right in somebody's face, would that do the trick? Yeah. Yeah. If you put like a bunch of rounds in somebody's face real quick, and you're aiming right at their face, and you got, 5 or 6, seven BBs in their face, they're gonna go like this, and they're not gonna keep coming. So it could be a potential protector, but these are not what I would use for hunting. They're not that accurate. Uh, they're not that accurate. They're not, the best thing in the world. But if you're like me and I was protecting a couple little bitty dogs, I got these little doggies here. And if you're like me and you're protecting a couple little dogs, which is what I was doing with them, and I didn't want to actually have to kill or hurt my neighbor's dog, for God's sakes. I did not want to have to do that because it was just an old lab. And in case I had to, and I had to really go to, I had to put some in him real quick just to run him off, then obviously that would have been a better option than actually flat out shooting the guy, because he wasn't really a bad dog. He was just a real dominant male dog, just real dominant male. So let's compare the air rifle real quick to, let's say, something like this Model 60, okay? So, that air rifle there, as long as that thing is working and that bullet is in that chamber right there, and that pellet is in that chamber right there, that air rifle will shoot. I've never had that air rifle. Only time that air rifle wouldn't have shot basically was if I didn't have the pellet in there. I don't open up the. It's got a little port on the side of these things. Somewhere. I don't ever open it, like I said. Somewhere in the back. Oh yeah, it's got one right. It's got one right there. And then what you do is you just open it. You fill it full of BBs. But I don't want that clean. I don't want that sound that comes with that noise. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the sound that comes with that noise, because I don't want that gun sound like. I don't want it to sound like that. I want to be quiet, for hunting. And so I load one in at a time, basically, personally. But let's compare that to something more like this. Now, you could just go get one of these scopes right here. I don't remember what brand this scope is, but these scopes like this ain't very expensive either. You can buy one of these. This actually may be, I don't want to say it's a True Glow. I don't think it is. I think maybe this one comes with that 22 Magnum. I think that's what this one comes with, and I have no idea what brand it is, or did know. But anyway, that's not important. But anyway, let's say you compare this to that. Well, let me ask you a question. Does 2,000 rounds of this look like that? That's small enough to fit pretty much in my hand. That's 2,400 rounds. Will 2,400 rounds of this look like that? And will these, will they necessarily go bang every single time you pull the trigger? And that's not true. And if you need to get that squirrel, if you need to get that whatever, that rabbit, before he runs off and gets down a hole, that is an option. That is something that's not good. I mean, you don't want this thing. You want this. When you pull that trigger, basically, you want to know when you pull that trigger, you want to know it's going to go bang. You know what I'm saying? You want to know it's going to shoot. And that is another thing that is about 22 LRs that makes them a little bit unreliable, and it does depend a little bit on what kind of ammo you buy. Now that one I've got about anywhere from 50 to 100,000 rounds, like I said before. And then I've got this guy, and I've got about 350 to 500 rounds to it. I don't know the exact count, but I can tell you that my AR-22 LR has gone bang every single time, and I do mean every single time I pull the trigger. But I've also probably been lucky, and I didn't have a bad round. It's just a little bit more of a true platform about being able to put out 22s about being able to put out 22 bullets, at least in the Walther. Now, I know that some people with the M&Ps by Smith & Wesson, they've had some trouble with them about not going bang. But if you got one of these Walthers, or you got a 10-22, or even that Marlin right there, which in that Marlin I've shot so many cheapo rounds, I can't tell you whether or not it's that reliable. Of course, I've shot just so much stuff like Thunderbolts, bulk ammunition of Federal, and you buy that bulk stuff, you're going to get a bad round or two. But there's a downfall. Like I said, there is that downfall that you might come up with some pretty poor rounds of ammo, and that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? So let me show you. Now you can step it up in reliability by buying the 22 Magnum. But the 22 Magnum, these bullets have gone up to about 20 round. I think $18 to $20 a small box for a small box of 50. So you have got that issue where they're getting more expensive too, and in some ways almost $20 a box. That's about $308 price, man. So that's a pretty expensive price to pay, you know, for something like this. That's a pretty expensive price to pay for something like this. I'm just saying, I don't know if I'd want to completely pay it or not. That's just me. I mean, well, I've got 1,200 rounds for this gun anyway. You know what I'm saying, personally. But you know, the way the price has gone up, back when I was buying them things for 1,200 rounds, they were only, you know, $10, $11 a box back then. So little small plastic things. So they're pretty expensive. And you know, so the bottom line is, even then, you know, we're still talking about 2,400 rounds, and we're talking about 2,400 rounds in this guy, about that big. So that's a lot more you can carry with you. And on top of that, you know, you're still a little better off than, you're still just a tad bit better off with the air rifle when you're hunting small things. Now, if you want to get something bigger, you want to go into hunt groundhogs, you want to go into hunting bigger things, this is where it's at. You know, the 22 Magnum is more than capable of doing everything you pretty much think about. Now let me show you another item real quick. It's almost time to get off here, but not just quite yet. I want to show you another item real quick. And I don't know, you've probably seen me bring these out before, but this is a Slingshot, and I've had this one for quite some time. I kind of prefer this kind of Slingshot. Some people prefer the wrist rockets with the thing. I kind of prefer this like that, kind of, because I go like that and put it forward. These things, think about it. Your ammo is everywhere. You know, I've got a thing of bolts in there. I buy little nuts. You know, the nuts. You can buy them at like Track Supply Company by the pound. You know, if you go to some place, you can buy it by the pound, and that's really good ammo. And I buy this guy right here. He's pretty good. I mean, he's pretty much my favorite one. Well, I actually kind of hold it with my left hand. I'm a right-handed person, but I hold it with my left hand. I pull it with my right, and I just like that. So, you know, this guy, these are like really cheap. Be honest with you, $6, $7, $8, $10. You can find your ammo everywhere. Rocks are everywhere. You know, the only thing about these is getting good with them. And how do you get good? You shoot the living hell out of them. That's how you get good. You shoot the living hell out of them. Pardon my French, but that's what you do. And if you do that, eventually you get good. You've probably seen me have one of them. I need to make a video about my bug out bag. But you probably see me have one of them in my bug out bag too. And there's a reason for that. Because if I have to, I can survive with a Slingshot. That's the reason why I do that. I actually need to make a video on how to shoot a Slingshot sometime. Anyway, let me add something else too. Now let's say you did pull this crazy stunt. And I'm not saying to not go out in the wilderness without a good 22 mag and whatever else. If you can carry a 308 deer rifle and a shotgun and whatever else, and you had to bug out, you had to load up your car and get out of here quick, I'd probably take, I'd probably take what you got here, these 22s. I'd grab, every gun I got and throw as much ammunition in there as I could real quick. And that'd probably take me, who knows how long to load it all up. I can probably get it all loaded up in under 10 minutes, and then it's a matter of getting it there. But I'm just saying, if you had to grab, let's say you didn't, worst case scenario, let's say that you got some kind of little rinky-dink buried pod up in the woods. This is my bug out location right here underneath this pile of leaves. I've got this air rifle and everything else. I got like $100 stuck in it, right? Okay, so let's say that, that be your only thing that you had to survive with the hunt game. And you can do that pretty cheap, $100. That's not much money for having, here we are talking about 6,000 rounds of ammo and, an air rifle. That's not much money, that's a pretty good price. And these don't go bad, buddy. As long as you keep them sealed up as long as you keep these things sealed up like this. And I've had these now for years. And I've even bought some after, later on after the fact. And they're still fun to go out in the backyard and just plink with. But let's say that I really was going out in the woods. I would say definitely if you had just to take off and go, get you a pretty decent high quality gun, a sidearm. Something like this 357 Magnum. This will kill a black bear. This will kill deer. This will kill pretty much anything you can think of. And in case something gets after you, pack of wolves, maybe, you can defend yourself and you have something decent. You may, there's not always things on four legs that are bad. There's also some two-legged people that want to do you harm too. So if you get you a good quality gun, a good handgun, and you got that to take with you, you're definitely going to be better off. And all this stuff's great. If you're a felon, you can't own any other gun. You can legally own this gun, these air guns. You can legally own these air guns. Okay, so if you hear somebody coming in your window or something like that, or they're trying to break open your door or whatever else, you can actually just yell and they might take off. But if they keep coming, as soon as they open that door or whatever, if you're having to run, you can actually just pull this thing out. You can give them about, I think this thing holds 20, or maybe both of them hold 17. But you can put them 17 of these freaking things in their face, and if you put 17 of these in somebody's face, I guarantee you, especially at closer range about like this, they're going to be down with the dang doctors down there having it freaking surgically removed. Okay, so anyway, I keep on going on any longer. I'm getting out of breath for one thing, but anyway, take it easy, be good at it, and Happy New Year's. I'm going to make another video tomorrow, so be prepared for that, and that'll be New Year's. But as for right now, Happy New Year's. I hope everything goes good. Watch the ball drop. Do what you're going to do. Have a glass of wine, drink a beer, I don't care. Anyway, be good at it, and just keep an eye out for tomorrow's video, and think about what I said. This stuff could come in handy sometime. It's been one of those last resort prepping items, but at the exact same time, you could do some things with it. You could even, you could do if you did the right kind of things, if you had to, let's say, kill a cat, well, you could pretty much kill a cat. Anyway, take it easy, be good at it.